All righty, folks, we're coming in here with Stephen Phillips, Run Drip and Bubble Company. I'm Steve Phillips, and I live in North Georgia, up in the mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountains. For all those that don't know, if you know where the Appalachian Trail ends in Georgia, that's where I preside. But anyway, I've had this Stephen Phillips Run Drip and Bubble Company for a while. We just started filming stuff that we do every day. It's just every ordinary days of our lives, and posting it. And I appreciate all the subscribers we got out there. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm actually a full-time school bus driver. I do a morning talk show called The Morning Dish on Lake 97.7 WJUL and 95.1, where we do a lot of interviews with everybody from John Snyder to Burton Gilliam. You just name it, we've had them on. But I do that. Then also I own a garbage service. So I'm the trashiest guy in town. They call it sanitation engineer, but we call it garbage men. But anyway, we've got John from Eastern Hot Rodder Magazine in with us. And John, tell a little bit about what you got going on.
Well, I'm John Worden. I published Eastern Hot Rodder for about 15 years until COVID killed everything on us. So now I'm doing YouTube videos just like you are. And like you, I'm connected to the school. But rather than drive the bus, I take care of the kids between the time you drop them off and pick them up. I teach in an alternative school up here in Murphy, North Carolina, and try to get some of my hot rod influence on some of these kids so we can keep this hobby going.
Well, tell us about your channel a little bit.
I started the channel shortly after I started the magazine, but I didn't really put much effort into it because I was so focused on the print magazine. And then when print just got too expensive and COVID kind of tore everything apart, I started to focus more on the video end of it. And both my daughters are kind of interested in doing stuff like that, so I figured if they like it, then I'm going to like it too. And we've been posting all sorts of stuff with show coverage, how-tos, some kind of funny little skits. Just different things like that, and we're going to see what catches on.
There you go. And we got Sean. Sean, tell us about you and tell us about your channel.
My channel is Seanfattireguy Thomas. It's just I guess it's not really a how-to YouTube, because I think there's plenty of them out there. I just do some of my cars, and sometimes I do some of my customers' cars. I've got a tire and service center in Hiawassee, Georgia. I get greasy for a living. You know, that ain't easy. I just have fun. I enjoy the old Mopars, cars. I don't like some of this stuff. I hate fuel injection. Maybe that's the fact. If it's fuel injection, then I don't like it. I just simple cars that most people don't like. I do have a couple of muscle cars that people do like, but Steven knows I got the big C bodies, stuff like that. And of course, we're supposed to be talking about what we think, what cars are going to be coming on strong. But I've got my own ideas, and most of the time I'm wrong. But
I'm with you on that. And I mean, that's the whole thing. We kind of wonder what the next big thing's going to be. You know, you talk to all these people on the, older guys, and they're like, man, you don't believe how many 57 Chevys I crushed if I'd have just had them, or, 55 Chevrolets or that kind of stuff. And cars are a big thing. Of course, I don't know, everything's going electric now, and I definitely don't want an electric car. They can say what they want to, but I don't like the way they sound. They just ain't got that rumble. You know what?
That's right.
But yeah, we kind of tossing our mind. We all got our own ideas, and Sean, he brought it up. So what do you think is going to be the next? I mean,
I guess this topic is a little bit of a cheat for me, because back in my 2017 issue, I actually covered cars you can get for under $7,500 that I think are going to go up in value, and that was you guys can see that one there, but it was got the article in there, and the cars that I picked.
And that was in 2017.
So it was today's deals or tomorrow's steals, and a lot of those things have already gone up like gangbusters already. And I kind of stick to those. I had square body anything, square body Chevy trucks, Ford trucks, and Dodge trucks. They're all catching on, and they're going like crazy. The Chevys in particular are getting out of sight already. I think the disco era stuff, the 70s rubber bumper stuff, is finally getting its due. I think a lot of that has to do with the TV shows are starting to take place in the 70s and 80s. So the people that are watching those shows are starting to get interested in that type of car. So they start to get the niches towards there. And I guess because the prices are already rock bottom, they only have one direction to go. So they're only going to go up.
Well, I'm with you on the square body, seemed like, but I don't know. Everybody's, of course, the square body Chevrolet's always been pretty dang strong through the
Right,
years. I mean, they've always been. Of course, you had the 75 or 76, and they were like prone to rust from
big
ground
time.
up. Yeah, they were bad to rust on that. But,
Yeah, real bad.
So now, have you picked any dogs? You did that in 2017, so you've got a little time. Have you picked out of that list? Have you picked any dogs?
I didn't actually looking at it here. Not really. I think some of the '70s cars haven't really took off like I thought. The other thing I thought was classic four doors, and I'll move that year up to like 1967 and older four doors. I think they're going to start to come up because the two doors, the SS 396s, the big high horse muscle cars, they just got so darn expensive. The average guy can't get into them. But a four door is still half the price of a two door. And you're seeing even the Tri-5 Chevys. 10 years ago, you could pick them up easy for under 10 grand and have a daily driver four door. And now those things are so, to get a decent one, you're looking in the mid teens already. So they're still climbing. But I think with the gas prices being high, I think you're going to see an increase in value on the small engine cars, the Volkswagen Beetles, the Volvo 544s that look like those old early Fords. Maybe some, even the Pintos in Vegas might start getting some attention left alone,
So now, Sean, he's all interested. He likes the little K car. You think the K car is going to come on strong?
Yeah, I think it's going to come on strong. Kick myself because I passed on a little wood grain convertible like was in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles out in Chattanooga.
There you go. Best movie ever, man.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
I really want one of them cars. And, I've got my Miser truck. I bought that Miser truck last year. I paid $4,500 for it. And I had Thomas Byers paint the bedside on it and fix a couple of dents. We didn't paint the whole truck. We just painted a couple of spots. And then I buffed the truck. And whenever I posted it on Facebook, not just posting it, there's people private messaging me, I'll give you $10,000 for that truck. They've all gone crazy. And I started to put the truck up for sale, but then when I drive it, I enjoy driving it so much. It's fun to drive and it's easy on gas. On the interstate, that little old slant six, it'll run 80, 85 mile an hour all day long and get 17.5 miles a gallon.
Yeah, you keep telling me that, but now when I had a Miser, I had the exact same truck you had back when I was working it, and I think what they got 95 horses, that model's truck on the inline six. I think they were like 95 horses or something. And man, it had a 3-speed overdrive. When I hit a hill, it was just like, come on, okay, we can do this, we can make it. But you know what I'm saying? You're trying to everybody lean forward.
Well, somebody ordered this truck with a 323 gear. Most of them come with 294, and I think someone's put a cam in this because when the truck's idling, you can hear just a little bit of a cam. So I don't think the truck's stock. And then, of course, it's the Super 6 that's in it. It's got the 318 2-barrel carburetor on it. Most of them was just 1 barrels.
Yeah.
So.
I had a 82 Dodge little fleet side pickup. It was an old state truck with a slant six and a stick shift. And that was a great little truck. I mean, I think I got probably in the high teens with that. That was a gas zipper compared to what I'm used to.
Well, they get good. And they sound like a little Singer soul machine. They just sound when they're running. They're sitting there. I mean, when you crank a slant six up, everybody knows it that knows anything about the Dodge product. But yeah, I don't know. That little, the K cars, I don't know. That's the funny thing about it. You think about the K car and everybody throws off on it, but the same people that built the K car built the Viper. That's what I always think.
And the same people that built the K car, that's Save Chrysler.
Well,
yeah.
And they did it. I mean, it wasn't a K car, but Chrysler had that GLH that was that based on a Horizon, wasn't it? A little turbo.
No, that was a Omni GLH.
Right,
Omni.
Yeah.
And the one that's the 24 valve or whatever it is. That's the one everybody.
Yeah,
Carol Shelby.
What'd you say, Sean?
Carol Shelby was the one that did that GLH, and a lot of people don't realize what that stands for, but he's the one to come up with the GLH. Goes Like Hell was what it
That's
stands
right.
for.
That's what they
Yeah.
nicknamed it. Yeah, that's what they nicknamed it.
Man, I remember
You know,
when I was
the funny
16 years old, I was at I had my big black Chevelle, the drag strip, and the guy was paired off next to me in a little Chrysler minivan, and he had a turbo set up from one of those on that minivan. And I didn't know anything about minivans at the time, and I pulled up to the line, light turned green, and I took off, and I remember going past him, looking over at his front tire spinning, and going, I didn't know those things were front-wheel drive.
Yeah.
He was normally in the 13s with it, and I'm so glad that he swallowed the rag that day, so I didn't look like a chump. But my girl was like 13, 20s with a 454, and that little turbo minivan was running. You know, he ran a 14 that day, but normally he was down in the low 13s. He would have been right side by side with me.
You know, them they're crazy high already. The little GLH is the.
Yeah.
I actually went and traded. I've been looking hard because I wanted a Shelby. I didn't care. I can't afford a Mustang, and I'm a Chrysler guy, so I actually ended up with a '85 Shelby Charger, the blue and silver one. And I actually ended up with that. It runs and drives as far as that goes. It needs some work, which I don't mind. Everything. The only thing I can afford needs work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Same here.
But I got a Shelby. That's what I tell them. Oh, I got a Shelby, you know, just so I can brag about that. But I really think them little Shelby cars and the little, you know, the turbo Dodge, I think they're going to start coming on. And the reason I say that is, you know, when I was growing up, you know, I'm a Mopar guy from get-go. I mean, my daddy raised me with Chrysler products, and that's all we ever had. And then Chrysler went to that front-wheel drive, and I always liked the 2.2. But after that, when they got in that Mitsubishi stuff, man, I'm against it because you know, I'm just not a Mitsubishi fan. And so I kind of got away from Chrysler a little bit and started driving other stuff because, you know, they didn't have any front-wheel drive or anything like that. But, you know, them little turbo cars were bad news. I mean, they were. As long as you had, I like the 2.2. I don't like any of them but the little 2.2. And I think they're based off of Volkswagen, to be honest with you.
Well, since we're talking about the little 2-liter stuff, I think the other cars, I noticed S10s and Rangers. My students always talk about the old Ford Rangers. You know, you know, the small Ford Rangers and the first and second design of them. Some of those kids, their dream car is a little Ford Ranger pickup truck. So I think and I've noticed the S10s. They're all of a sudden getting stupid money for it. And I don't know if it could be because there's just a dried up market on the newer stuff, or they're actually getting that much attention. I mean, it was a while that S10s were throwaway cars. You know, people were using for donors for different hot rods. And stuff. So now you're seeing them get built, you know. You know,
I don't know if y'all remember the Ranger GT. They actually made a Ranger GT. Yeah. And I bought one of them, and we usually do everything I got. I use for a work truck, and I had a guy that worked for me, and he drove that thing. I think it was about 26 miles. He had went after something. He come back in, and the motor was just making all kinds of sounds. I mean, it's just rattling. And I said, "Did you check the oil in this thing?" I think they're 2.9. I think it was 2.9 V6 5-speed. The little GT was 0 oil. We put 5 quarts of oil, and then a little bit more because the filter was empty. And that truck, we drove it for 2-3 more years. I'm not kidding you, man. I mean, I thought, man, that's a tough little old rig. But you know, I want to go back a little bit because we're kind of getting off. But you know, you were talking about the 4-door cars. I think the wagons, man, station wagons, they call them long roof station wagons. Yeah. I think that's the thing, especially the Buick. That Buick Roadmaster.
Yeah. Well, you know, that goes, wagons, I think, always have a special market, and they're always a little bit higher than the 4-door sedan. But going to that, I think you're right on that Roadmaster, because I sold mine a couple years ago, and generally what happens is whatever I sell ends up becoming the next hot thing. You know, they don't get popular when I own them. They get popular after I sell them. So.
I'm with you. Yeah, I got the same problem. But I'll tell you something else that's kind of that we're actually going to build. I've got, of course, you know, I got cars. You can ask Sean. I got cars all over the hill. If I said I had 100 cars, I'd say that's probably a low number. But I've got a '76 Firebird we've been working on, and I bought a parts car, and we picked all the stuff off of it, but the body's still there. But this is what I think is awesome right now, and I think this is going to be a really hot item. And, you know, everybody went through the rat rods. I think rat rods is about run their course. I don't know. I'm just not a big rat rod guy. But the street legal stock cars, especially after they did the thing with the roadkill where they had the Challenger, you know, they had the Challenger, and then they did the Charger. They made the street legal stock car. They're coming on strong. I think street legal stock cars is going to be.
You know, I don't know why that hasn't been a trend that jumped on. Like that should have taken off 10, 15 years ago, as far as I'm concerned, because there's a lot of cars that they're not worth restoring,
right? But
they're worth fixing up to get them running again. And doing a stock car clone is a cheap way to do it. You know, cut those fenders big, throw on some gumball tires on some Bart's racing wheels, and you know, run a big old shifter with some black duct tape on it, and you're ready to go. You know.
Yeah, put a roll bar in it and headlights and taillights and a tag and just have some fun with it.
Instead of having to buy interior stuff for it, you're throwing all the interior away, you know?
Well, that's the thing, you know, we do good right up to the paint. Of course, we rented a body shop. We've been over there working on that some, but God, I hate sanding. Man, I hate sand. I hate sand. I don't mind beating fenders out of them, laying the Bondo to it. When it comes to sanding, I just can't do it.
I've painted a few cars with a roller.
Yeah, there you go. And then buff it out. That's why they used to paint it back to A models, wasn't it? They painted them with a paintbrush and then buffed them back out.
I guess, man. I painted my little rat rod with a roller probably 10 years ago now, and it's still holding up good.
What do you call that? Are you talking about the little truck?
Yeah, my little red truck. Yeah.
You call that a rat rod? I think that's a little bit more than a rat rod. That's a cool looking truck, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's really. I built that truck in a shoestring budget. That was the magazine's project car. I made a $3,000 budget for that to make it a daily driver, and we did it for just under $3,000. And that's carried me up to upstate New York and back. You know, we did a 2,100-mile round trip, and it's killing me this summer. I took the motor out to freshen it up, and it's not back together yet. And it's just driving. I'm having withdrawal symptoms from not driving that little truck.
I know what that is. Let's give a big shout out to Action Salvage Outlaws here. They joining in with us a little bit. We're kind of figuring out what cars we think is going to be worth some money in the near future. But I don't know, Sean, what you got another choice? I mean, you got the K car. I know there's something else you got on your mind. I can tell. Now, folks, if y'all are watching this, he's sitting in a chair that I sold him for like $20. It's probably worth $600. I ain't kidding you, man. That's right out of the 70s, man.
It's 70 street machines, man.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I think any of them, of course, I realize, I build vans, so I'm automatically put in the weirdo category anyway. So, but anything that them oddball, them like my truck's a miser, I have a goal of getting all the misers that they built. Not, the miser Omni and the TC3, all of them things that was just built for fuel mileage and, to drive and use. And I like them real good. Of course, I've got my big Fury that you're always trying to buy, Stephen. And them cars are probably, I got that car for nothing. I traded an old bore out 4-wheeler for that car.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. I got to get it. Really, it's the one that I haven't done too much to the car.
Yeah, it's a good car.
The interior is, with the headliners all ripped out and all that stuff, but you don't need none of that stuff to drive and have fun.
That's right.
Yeah, let me ask y'all this question. Now, this is a car that I've been kind of leaning towards. I don't know if y'all remember it come out, but the PT Cruiser that they came out with back.
Yeah, my mom had one.
There was a waiting line for them cars.
Yeah.
And the PT Cruiser convertible turbo, I really think them cars are going to come on strong, especially if you can find anything 5-speed at this point, because they ain't even making 5-speeds no more, 6-speeds. What do y'all think about that? Do you think the PT Cruiser is going to do anything at all? I mean,
I don't know. I haven't looked at those. I get car sick in front wheel drive, so I kind of avoid the front wheel drive.
I'm with you on that, but just to park in the yard and say I got to, I don't know. I just think that little old PT Cruiser I think the convertible, now the 4-door not so much, but the little turbo cars I think are going to come on pretty.
I think anything with a turbo is probably going to.
I'm just thinking, back when they first come out with them the low rigs, they were waiting lines.
There was, yeah. People were paying way over sticker and everything for them, and then all of a sudden you couldn't give them away.
Copperhead Customs, man, everything here in Australia. Come with chrome and bumpers. Y'all they drive on the wrong side of the road over there, man.
We go back to 4-doors. Australians build 4-doors all the time, man. It's hard to find a 2-door down there, so they love their 4-doors.
Well, they like them there too. Them Utes.
Yeah.
So that, them going back to the K car, since I'm on the K car thing, they made them little Rampage trucks, and so that'd go good in Australia. The little Rampage, you could. I've seen some people. Yeah, I've seen some people customize them into make them like Shelby's. Put the Shelby running gear in that little Rampage truck. Then you got a little hot truck there to run. There
was one that they stuffed a Hemi in Hot Rod a couple of years ago. It was done up in orange and had a Hemi in it. It was tubbed out and looked pretty cool.
Yeah, they're good looking little rigs too. I like the big headlight. I like the 2 square headlights. I don't like the 4. I like the first ones they come out with on that. But
yeah, I do too. That's my.
yeah.
Well, there's another car I think you can link it to. Speaking of Australia stuff, some of the stuff that GM did with the Holden and brought it over here. You got that last grasp at the GTO and the G8. Those things are always climbing in price. But they had a Kappa platform that was the Pontiac Solstice, the Saturn Sky, the Opel GT. I just sold one of those, and particularly the turbo line ones of those are really starting to go up because they only made it for a short time.
I think the Sky and what's the Pontiac Solstice?
Yep.
Yeah, I think they're both are going. I'd already like to have one. Hey, man.
I don't know what's going on there. I think my battery just died.
It's all right. Everybody like, what the heck?
I think the camera thing just got drunk or something. It's just
them G8s are bad news too, man. I'd love to have one of them. They actually, we got our law enforcement's got one of the Chevrolets. What's it? I guess it's the Caprice with the 6.0 in it.
The Impala.
The Impala. They still driving one right now. If that thing ever goes to auction, I'm gonna try my best to get that. Of course, I guess everybody around here is.
Oh yeah, well how it's funny how sought out police cars are now. They didn't use it, did they?
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you that old boy. What's his name down in Florida that's doing all the races with the Crown Vics? Ain't gonna be no Crown Vics left.
Oh yeah,
yeah, Cletus. He's gonna. The Crown Vics are gonna be like Pintos. Everybody's gonna be looking for them because they raced them till they ain't nothing left of them.
Right.
Yeah, they want them.
But I'm with you on the. I like the Sky better than I do the other one.
I do too. Yeah, a little sharper.
What do you think about?
Now they made a really cool one that they sold only in Spain. It was the Toro. I think it was called a Toro, and they came with a little LS3. It was was it a 6.2 liter LS motor in them? Make 425 horse or something. So, but the turbo cars, the stateside turbo cars, they were 260 horsepower stock. That was the highest horsepower per cubic inch engine that GM ever built because it was only like 123 cubic inch, if I remember right.
Now we're talking about these little gas miser cars do a swap. Do y'all remember the 82 and 83 Challenger? That was a Mitsubishi with the Challenger name. Do y'all remember that car at all?
Unfortunately.
I mean, I've been thinking that'd be a prime candidate for a swap, man, for some kind of serious LS or something like that. Because they were good looking little cars, but they were Mitsubishis. That's why I never owned them.
Weren't they front wheel drive?
No, they were rear wheel drive.
Were they really?
Yeah, they were rear wheel drive. The 2.6 liter Mitsubishi. And
they had that, what was it? The Chrysler Conquest, too, was another one that was in the 80s. That was
I've had a couple of them, TSI, Conquest TSI with the 2.6 turbo. Same running gear as the Challenger, the 83 Challenger.
They was just Mitsubishis, wasn't they?
Yeah, that's all they were.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It always bugged me that they could bring another car in and just stick a nameplate on it and call it their own, and there wasn't nothing on that other than the nameplate.
They did that with the Stealth too. Remember that was the same as the GT 3000.
And that, what is it, twin turbocharged Stealth they had? I mean, it was bad news, but nobody wanted to change the plugs in it because it took like 2 days.
Right.
What about the Maserati? The Maserati.
Oh yeah, that was just a LeBaron. I knew a guy had one. I was like, he's got a Maserati. I'm going, where? They're like, right there. So the thing with the Continental key on it. That's
that's not a Chrysler. That's a Maserati.
Yeah.
It's a Mitsubishi Chrysler Maserati. So.
That was certain things should not have been done in the automotive world. Speaking of not have been done in the automotive world, I think a bunch of AMCs will probably get pretty hot, like the Pacers and the Gremlins. The weird, just because they're just weird. They'll be.
I always liked the Matador. If you ever seen the prototype of the Matador, man, it's absolutely gorgeous.
The two-door Matador was great looking. The four-door had like a coffin nose with a big grill that stuck out weird.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Who come up with that? Who was the headquarter manager of AMC? Says, "Dang, that looks good. Let's sell that."
AMC's had some pretty cool cars though. They really did. Like some of the Rambler late '60s Rambler Americans with the the SD Rambler and stuff like that. I had a Javelin as fast as can be. I had a '70 Javelin.
Yeah.
But
that's funny, don't you? If you ever check back on the Javelin, the one that had the big fenders on it, they run them for cop cars out west, and they said they had to cut holes in the top of the fender because they would gather air and the front end would lift up off the ground when they got like over 120 mile an hour, like in a chase or something. So they had
no kidding.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But they look cool. Yeah, they look cool. And I had a buddy of mine. He had the he had one of them scrambler ramblers. Now that's a bad little car. Remember the red, white, and blue? Had the
Yes.
big scoop on the front. Little.
Oh man, I wanted one so bad when I was a kid, and it was like $2,500. My dad's like, "What do you want a Rambler for?" And boy, I wish I bought it now because those things are worth a fortune.
Yeah. It was a good looking car. It was a true scrambler rambler. I'll never forget. And it had back then, you know, I mean, that's the thing about it. We sat and beat fenders and put carburetors and twisted this, and we got 350 horse. Now you drive a V6 Mustang with air conditioning that's got over 300 horses. I'm thinking, what's wrong with this picture? You know, but you know what I'm saying.
But speaking of 300 horse, what about the LT1 Corvettes, the C4 Corvettes? I think are going to start climbing.
I want to ask you about that. I actually own a C4. I got 87 convertible, and they've kind of been left out. And now, you know, of course, a lot of people now are buying them, stripping them down, making rail jobs out of them because they did that on the roadkill or whatever it's called. But yeah, I think they're coming on. Of course, it's like a Corvette. You know, a Corvette and Cadillacs depreciate quicker than any car out there.
Yeah,
I mean, they go down quick. And I bought this one when it wasn't worth nothing. It still ain't worth nothing, but it's so much fun to drive.
Yeah, my daughter's got a '96 convertible there, and she loves it. You know, so it's her first car to buy. She bought it back 3 years ago, and we can't find another one close to what she paid for hers now. So they've already gone up quite a bit. But I know the C5s have come way down too. So that LS kind of overshadowed that last of that small block. You know, the LT1s and the LN98s just kind of got overlooked because the LS just took the world over. You know. Yeah,
it did. Mine's got that. What is it? Team Port Fuel, I think it is.
Yeah.
At Complicated Customs, he said that the Rambler Hornet. Now I'm with him on that. That's a good. The little Hornet was a good looking little car.
I like those, man. I've seen some. Actually, I just saw a Hornet station wagon for sale in upstate New York on Facebook today.
Yeah,
great
car.
car.
I love the looks of the little Hornets, but yeah, I don't know. It's a you know, the way that things are going with the used car prices right now, they're getting so crazy.
Yeah,
and just higher and higher and higher. But I don't know. You know, I'm like you on the C4. I think it is. Now I like the. Let's see. Now what is it we got? What's the new one they got out? The mid engine.
Oh, that C8. Yeah.
Now the C7 was a good looking car. I think it's going to hold its value. I mean, I like the C7 better than do the C8.
Well, I think the C7 is going to hold its value because it's the last of the front engine. You know, so you're going to, you know, that's kind of, you'll get that. And I also think I'm not into too many new cars, but the C6 Z06 is the one that I want. It's a 427 cubic inch, 505 horsepower. They were the first 11-second supercar to run 11s and not have to pay the gas guzzler tax. You know, so if you can get knocked down 27 miles per gallon with 500 horsepower, so what's not to like, you know?
Copperhead Custom said he's got an 84 C4. Now I've got the 82. They both got that crossfire fuel injection, man.
Yeah.
Boy, what a nightmare that was.
Yeah. Well, it looked like an old cross frame. I imagine you could probably make those work pretty darn good if you put a couple
I ain't even touching mine. I got a buddy of mine over here that works on nothing but GM, and he said he'd keep it running. So as long as he's alive, I'm going to keep the crossfire on it. But
there you go.
But I get crazy fuel mileage in that car. I'm not kidding you. I mean, it's 82, it's 84. Yeah, I get ridiculous fuel mileage. It's great. I mean, I get.
Have you ever seen one of the intakes off?
No.
Yeah, the ports on the intake are cut down half the size.
Right.
And that's cross frame. That's why, you know, they never could really get them cars to run any good at all. When you got that intake off and turn it upside down, where GM's got a normal, we'll say 3/4 inch by 2 inch runners on them, maybe or 1, but anyway, it's cut down to where it's only like a 1 inch by 2 inch block.
So they must have done that to keep the velocity up and build torque.
Yeah.
It was probably the idea behind it.
I don't know. It's not all that powerful. Of course, you know, if I'm going to get up and run up down the road, I'm going to get an 87 because as far as driving, the different cars are from 82 to 87 is completely different. But the cool factor of the 82 with them pretty Coke bottle curves, man, I love that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The body style's real good.
Action Salvage Outlaw said, I see a Georgia tag on the wall. Yep, brother, we in Georgia here. We're in the mountains of North Georgia. Got my 96 Rock. That 96 Rock tag hanging on the wall, that's actually the one I had when I was a kid. That was a big thing. For anybody in Georgia, remember 96 Rock.
I think I got one of those floating around here too, man.
It's still got dead bugs on it, man. It's still got dead bugs on it.
I just saw one the other day. Maybe I thought I had one hanging in my garage here, but I guess I don't.
Yeah. So
they're selling like crazy now where Willards are running that on iHeart Radio. You know,
tags
like crazy.
Yeah.
I got Christopher Rude. He signed mine. He actually works with us over here. He was on 96 Rock. Keep it rude. Keep it rude. Keep it rude. I don't know. I'm all about the street legal stock cars. Now let me ask you something. This is something, you know, Dodge Ram did the classic Ram. You remember they built them from like 07 all the way up because they never changed the body style of the 2-door half-ton pickup truck.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's classic Ram, but it's, you know, they never changed the body style. And I think they still make them, do they not? They're brand spanking new, but they look like a 09 or 010 or something.
I don't think they do anymore. But what I think is funny is the way people they talk about the Dodges. They say the first gen Dodges. They're talking about the square body Dodges, but Dodge was making pickup trucks back in the 30s. There's a lot of different designs for that.
I think what they're talking about is the Cummins. When
okay. Yeah, the old 12 valve Cummins.
The guys that are saying first gen, they're talking about the Cummins trucks, and a lot of fellas don't know that.
No, I'm with you on the Cummins. I'm with you on the Cummins, but they make a classic Dodge truck that they kept the body style.
Yeah, they're still keeping that 2009 body style going. And
they've made it all the way into 2021 or 2022 the same. It's only the half-ton short wheelbase single cab pickup trucks.
They must have made a bunch of extra bodies or something.
Could be.
It's cheaper to keep her. That's what I say. And I'll tell you another car that I think that I love the Cordoba, man. I know everybody goes to the Magnum on that year, but the Cordoba, that was a good looking car.
That one had that rich Corinthian.
Do what now?
That one had that rich Corinthian leather.
Oh, Corinthian leather. Yes, it was very nice. Very nice. I had that one. It's a 76, I think it was, with a 400 in it. And you didn't have to change out of first gear till you got about 75 miles an hour. That's how geared it was, man. I ain't kidding you. Come out.
Probably like a 273 or 256 or something in it.
Yeah, it's very high. Very high. Yeah, there ain't no doubt. But I don't know.
That's like my 300. I took it down there to Calhoun and run it in low gear through the 8th. I think it was running almost 80 mile an hour in the 8th. That had nothing but low gear.
That's a cruiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a cruiser. But anyway. Well, all right, fellas. Well, I guess we about wrapped up. I don't want to waste everybody's time, but I just want to talk a little bit about what we thought. But like I said, I'm Stephen Phillips. I appreciate all the support we got and all the subscribers we got. And we've got John, before we go, tell them a little about Eastern Hot Rodder. And then I'll let Sean talk a little bit about what he's got going on. And we appreciate Copperhead Customs and Action Salvage Outlaws and all those that's watching. We sure enough appreciate it, but don't want to get too long here. We get talking about cars, man. You can talk all night long.
Yeah, man. It's yeah. I think when it comes down to the cars, I think we're going to see a shift in the types of cars that are. I think you're going to see some of the real old stuff start to drop in value. You know, as the old fellas start to pass on.
Like the A models and stuff, they're already coming down. You can buy a nice A model for $12,000.
Yeah, and I think that's going to shift a little bit, and as the younger generation starts to get involved in it, they're going to start looking at some of the stuff that. I mean, I look at at a car in the early 90s, and I think that's a new car, you know, but that's 20 some odd years old now, you know, 30 years old. So the cars that people our age think is new is actually older than we think it is, you know. And so that as people get in that hobby, I just like to see young guys get in the hobby. You know, the more we can carry this on and pass this torch on to the younger generation and get them interested in it. It doesn't matter what kind of car it is, as long as it's a car, you know, and it'll keep them out of trouble more than it'll get them into it.
That's the thing that hurts my feelings. You know, I got a 96 SS Impala, and I drive it quite regularly. It's probably one of my favorite cars to drive. I mean, it's just comfortable.
It's a comfortable car, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And they're like, man, that's a cool old car. I'm thinking, that ain't old. That's a 96.
When I had my Roadmaster, I had some guy that was older than me. He came up and said, wow, that's a neat old station wagon. You know, I had the Roadmaster with the wood on the side. He goes, what's that, like a 1967? I was like, no, it's 95. I was like, man, where were you? To me, those things look modern when they were new.
We were in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and you know how the traffic up there is just bumper to bumper. Yeah. I was in that Corvette. It's a white Corvette. We had the T-tops out. Me and my wife was in it. We was all cool. And this little boy is walking by with his daddy, holding his daddy's hand. And he looked up at his daddy. He said, Daddy, how come all the old people get the cool cars? And my wife just looked at me like, well, how did that make you feel? I was just like, shut up, kid. So I guess I'm old. But, yeah, I don't know. I know I look pretty rough too. It's not the miles that's on me; it's the stops that I made along the way. That's why I look like good. So anyway, Anyway, we got John Eastern Hot Rodder Magazine, and then Sean, Fat Tire Guy Thomas. He's up here in Hiawassee where I'm at. Tell me a little about your channel there.
Just a little bit of some of my cars and some of my customers' cars. I've got that 69 Satellite right now. I'm waiting for the machine shop. My motor's in the machine shop jail right now. I go by and visit it and check on it, but hopefully by the end of the year I get that 440 and I'm going to cut a hole. Make all the Mopar guys really mad. That N96 hood, I'm cutting a hole hood for a tunnel ram.
I love tunnel rams.
Don't cut it in. Oh man. I'll tell this story, Sean. I had a factory air grabber hood for a 71 Charger or RT or whatever it was on. It's a factory air grabber hood. I kept it in my daddy's basement. I mean, it was like I just protected it everywhere I went. I mean, it had everything on it. Sean got a Charger and he talked me out of it because we're big buddies. And he said, sell me that. And I sold it. And he cut it. He cut the air grabber cord. What?
Come on.
It worked. I mean,
I didn't cut it. I trimmed it.
Okay, you trimmed it. I don't care what it is.
Trimmed that. I just made a little room for the air compressor because.
No.
Jeez.
And I kept all the pieces. They could have been glued back on.
Okay, I'm with you, man. Let's get on with it. It's done, but that was so funny. I thought, Lord, don't do that, man. It's a factory air grabber hood for.
Well, I done good on that car right there because at the time that I sold that car brought $36,000, and at that time when it sold in 2018. Them 71 Coke bottle cars, as they call them, they wasn't bringing no dang money. Nobody was. Of course, that car was pretty rare. It was a Charger 500,
Mm-hmm.
But way I did it all 70. Even the tires that was on that car was period correct from the 70s. I did it all pure 70s, basically what you call street machines. Put the outsider side pops on it, the slot. It jacked up and everything, and that's the way I remember the cars running around when I was a kid. When I started building that car in 2015, there was nobody building any Mopars, especially like that. They're all putting these little bitty narrow factories, so just like they was when they left the lot. And heck, them boys that back in the 70s, they'd spend tires off the first weekend and then put a set of big fat slots and stuff and jack them up, put shackles on them, and
I'm still stuck
running.
With slot mags on a tunnel ram, man. That's a great combination.
Yeah. I know that. We got Nathan's Mopar Garage here. He says, hello, everyone. I hope he didn't hear me talking about you cutting that air grabber hood.
Well, where I'm sort of called out. I'm a Mopar guy through and through. Everything I've got's Mopar, but as far as the other Mopar guy, I'm not sort of called out because, well, he's where I build vans, and then I've got C bodies. I love them big C body cars. That 71 300 I got. That I love that car.
I bet.
I like these cars.
I've got my little 70 Duster. It's a fun car. And, of course, now everybody likes that Satellite. They think it's a Roadrunner whenever they see it. But that's going to be a fairly high dollar build. I've done got a Dana 60 put in it. And I've still got it where it's running and driving on that factory 318. But it's going to be, 440 tunnel ram, 4-speed car. I'm putting ladder bars on it. And I've got a brand new set, new old stock chrome stacks going on for side pipes. And,
cool.
Run back in the 70s. So it's going to look pretty good. Of course, the wheels on it, I've got them Super ET wheels. That's the most money that I've ever paid for the wheels. So, basically they was off of a show car from back in the 70s. And, I've been to swap meets for years now, and I've never seen a set of these Super ET wheels like what I've got on that car.
Well, they're good looking wheels. Ain't no doubt about that. But Sean makes more money than I do. If I get over $200-300, I start sweating. You know what I'm saying? Sean just lays it out there. Here you go. Here's just money.
Yeah, well, I spend it like Dumb and Dumber, you know.
Yeah.
Like on the briefcase, there it is. Of course, I'm about spent out now with that building that I'm building out there. That I'm on my YouTube channel. I'm calling it the new headquarters, but technically, you know, it's just where I've got 8 cars, and I need to be able to keep them inside. So when I get that building out there done, I'll be able to keep all 8 of my cars in out of the weather.
Yeah.
I'm like Fred G. Sanford here. This is my empire. I got junk cars everywhere. That's my empire. Ain't that what Fred Sanford said? That's my empire. So you know, it's funny how things, you know, change. Because all I drove was Chrysler products growing up, and I've had everything you can think of. I've had the Challengers, I've had the Chargers, the RTs, and I had a '70 Dodge Charger RT, perfect car, green. It was a green car, green interior, and had the little pinstripe that went around the RT on the door. And when I sold that, and that had to be in the early '80s, and I swear I think $1,500 is all that car would bring. Yeah. And there's no telling what that. And it didn't have air conditioning, but it was power steering and all that. But it was a '70 Charger RT, and that's what me and my wife dated in. That's what we dated in.
Yeah.
I think the grip of that car bring $2,000 now.
Yeah, I'd say bring every bit $2,000. Yeah.
Maybe even $2,150.
Yeah, it's a nice car. I mean, it really was. It was, the interior was good. It was. I mean, we drove it every day. That's what we dated in, and so
I think probably the most numbers correct car I ever owned was a 340 Demon. That was a real nice car. It was Hemi orange, had the sparkle hood, 340 AC automatic, a bucket seat console. Nice car. Had the build sheet and everything with it, and it was. I was a nervous wreck when I drove it, man. It just felt like something bad was going to happen all the time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So, anyway, we've been on here quite a while. We've been here about an hour. We'll be back hopefully next Sunday about the same time and see what we can jaw about. And if anybody like to join in with us, just let us know. We'll send you a link. And I ain't kind of new to this YouTube stuff, but like I said, I appreciate y'all coming on, man. And thanks everybody for listening and watching and commenting. We appreciate that. All the subscribers and. Like I said, go check out Eastern Hot Rodder. He's got some cool bills he's working on. And then Sean, he's always got some crazy something going on. And Sean's the only guy I know that would take a factory air grabber hood and cut it. Okay, I'm sorry.
It'll be the butcher, huh?
The butcher. Yeah, Sean the butcher. No, it's all good. It's all good. But I have to poke fun of you, man. You know, we've been friends a long time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember that day. You about cried when you seen it. Oh no! Oh, it just needed a little clearance.
Oh well.
If we kept all our stuff, if everybody kept all their stuff, then none of it would be worth anything.
I'm with you on that.
Exactly.
All right, folks. So we're out of here. I appreciate y'all listening, and hopefully we didn't bore you too much, waste too much of your time. But like I said. Sean, thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, Steve.
All right, y'all be good.
We'll see you guys.